Well, thank you for staying with us. Once again, we're coming to you from Witbank. We're talking about the issue of illicit trade of alcohol, underage drinking, how it affects tax. Of course, the government has been complaining about that. I just wanted to talk to you, Mr. Mabuza, about how do you convince a person who's trying to run their business of alcohol, they're trying to make a living for their family. There's a market for it. People want to have, a convenient place where they can get a cheap beer and have a drink after work. How do you curb that?
Well, as a department, we are not against that, but we are saying there are laws in the country. We must all follow those laws. If you do have a license, because before you sell alcohol, you go and apply, they give you a license of which you are party to that and you agree to the terms and conditions.
But how much red tape is around trying to get a liquor license? How easy is it to get a liquor license?
Well, you have to go through processes where you are going to put your application to the Mpumalanga Liquor Authority. However, you must go via the municipality where they must also comment. You must have a plan for the premises where you are going to sell the alcohol, because they must check whether there will be enough ablution facilities for the people. Otherwise, if they just give you a blanket approval, you will find that it's just a hall. There are no ablution facilities. There's no ventilation. The building is not safe for habitation of people there. So
right.
You will go through all those processes. The police must also have a say on that before you are granted that approval or license. They must also look at issues of other community centers such as churches and schools that are closer to that facility.
Right.
So
they also put that into consideration.
Yes.
Which is great. Colonel Pretorius, what crimes stand out to you the most that are associated with alcohol consumption abuse?
If we look at the stats in the police as such, usually assault. Because
contact crimes,
but especially assault within contact crimes, because people go, they would, let's say, go to a tavern, they consume too much alcohol, then they get into the argument, and the next thing you have assault. So your contact crimes does stand out when it comes, well, linking it to alcohol or substance abuse in that sense. Coming back to my colleague, when it comes to liquor license applications, yes, it's very key with the police that we submit a report to the school, the church closest to that outlet. And I think one thing is very key that we must also look at is when there's a school next to an outlet, that when the school principals should also give their input and their objection, just not accept that, because that was what we also find, is that there is a application lodged, then the school must say, okay, no, we don't agree with it, but yet sometimes you find there is no information coming forth from that school complaining against that lodgement.
Are we seeing a lot of alcohol that is being smuggled into school premises, Mr. Skosana?
Yes, a lot, especially where you find that the outlet itself is next to the school premises. Hence, we're encouraging especially our SGPs, in our parents, our communities around, to also participate and play a role in that respect, to say those tavern owners, as my colleague has said, that they must comply with the license conditions. But you'll find that these underage kids, they send an older person, you see, just because of the person does not have money or whatever, or is going to benefit out of that, is abusing that situation and go to the tavern or whatever outlet, buy liquor for these kids, and automatically you'll find that they are smuggling those things inside the school premises. So hence we are encouraging that probably in terms of the role of the SGPs, especially with the SAPS, to constantly monitor these schools, especially.
When you say monitor, do you mean do random searches at school, or
exactly in terms of in the morning, during lunchtime, and you see, so that these kids cannot just freely move in and out of the premises of the school.
Now, another proposal that has come from the amendment of the alcohol bill is that the lifting of the legal drinking age to 21. Some saying this is an infringement on young people's rights to work in pubs and bars and restaurants and retail outlets. What is your reaction to that? I'll start with you, Mr. Mabuza. Because if you're 21 years of age, you should be able to work and get a job. And if you can't work in a bar, you're being restricted from being able to fend for yourself, your right to employment, and so forth. How do you balance the two?
Well, it's very difficult to balance. However, as you are saying, when you are 21 years, you do have a right to take decisions. So it should be a person who can take his or her own decision whether he would like to consume alcohol, to go to a tavern or what.
But the law is not allowing you to be in a bar, but you need to be working. What do you do?
As I'm saying, that it should be upon a person. The law, it's the law, it's there. We should all observe the law. But then when the law says that you must not do that, you must not do that. But I believe that a person should also take his or her decision, but then not contrary to the regulations that have been set by government.
Recommendations that stand out to you that you think could be a sticking point?
Just coming back to the age of 21, the drinking age. In many a country, the drinking age is above 21. That's in principle, it's a law. We'll see if the law will pass. There's still challenge around
still
that.
A bill, yes.
But I think coming back to working in a liquor environment doesn't say you can't work in a liquor environment. It just says you can't sell liquor. So the person that's let's say the waitress or waiter won't be able to serve the liquor, but you can still work in the environment. So we must look at principles on how it's going to be applied. That's why I say other countries, the law, you have countries where the law is 21. Other countries, the law is 32. For just to buy 32 just to consume things like whiskey. So it's not just key to South Africa. The question is why do we want to go that route? And it comes back to the same principle with our communities and our young youth, it's responsibility. If we go back to responsibility, then we shouldn't have to apply this law.
Well, here's another one to ponder. Manufacturers and suppliers of alcohol to illegal or unlicensed outlets will effectively be liable to all damages that are caused by their unlawful distribution. That sounds fair, doesn't it? No?
Well,
yes, maybe?
In principle, if you go and look in some of the countries, I know Australia for a fact, they apply the law, the last drink principle. Where did you consume your last drink, and then after that? I think with that we must just be very careful in the sense it's going to be a challenge to prove where was the liquor board, but we have a law in our country. In any case, the Liquor Act of 59 of 2003, which regulates the macro manufacturer and distributors of liquor. That is your bigger companies, that's like your Esaberries, your Dessel, which are manufacturers, and then your macros, for instance, that are distributors. So that law is there. And within the policing environment, we are working with the Department of Trade and Industry in ensuring that your macro manufacturers and your distributors of liquor, that they don't sell liquor to your unlicensed places like your Shobinas as such.
Mr. Mabuza, it is said that Gauteng, the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal are expected to offer the most resistance as the bill is proposed. Apparently the provinces have historically been given license to issue their own rules and regulations. How does that work in the bigger picture of having the whole nation comply to the same rules?
Well, it's going to be a difficult one because we are going to have one law and all the provinces will be expected to comply with that. But then provinces will know that will have their own legislatures, will want to pass their own small laws at a small scale. However, it should not be contrary to the national law. But then as we are saying, everything that is being passed through legislature or parliament, it's for the good of the country. So I will request people to make sure that they support those kind of regulation, because they are there to instill discipline and to make sure that there is fair trade in the country.
And Colonel, should the community find that perhaps there is illegal alcohol trading that's happening in their communities, is there a department that takes care of that? Obviously, it's not a special crime, I understand that, but is it a concern that they can bring to the South African Police Service?
Our communities have the right to complain. So in any case where they pick up an instance where the liquor's been sold illegally, or there's an illegal outlet, or what we call a shebeen, or where they find that a taverner or whoever is selling liquor to a minor, they have the right to report that to the police. The police have a call center where they can report the call anonymously, and then what happens, then we will send they don't have to give their details. As I said, it's 08600 10111, and then the police will attend to their case.
Right. And issues of, Mr. Mawuza, as we wrap up, I don't think Mpumalanga really has an issue when it comes to, I mean, it's not the right at the top of provinces in South Africa that is a huge issue with alcohol consumption abuse. But in terms of, people that need help, that think perhaps I'm now in a huge problem, perhaps I'm abusing alcohol, I don't know how to stop, I would like to stop. What can they do? Where can they get help?
Well, they can come to the department, call the department, or they can also call SAPS, because it's easy to access SAPS. There are DPOs in each and every police station. They will know where to get people who can assist, especially from the Department of Social Development, because we do have social workers who can work with that particular community and assist them. We do have townships that arrive in consuming alcohol. So those institutions, organizations and structures that are there in the communities, the CPFs and the other community leaders, councillors will know where to get help for those communities.
All right. And Mr. Skosana, final remarks as we wrap up?
Well, finally, we would like to encourage our communities to continuously engage in these awareness campaigns, especially as the municipality. We do have these programs through our transversal unit with our other stakeholders, so SAPS, various civil society structures in our communities. So we'd like to encourage our communities to come forward and be positively contributing to those campaigns as we are going forward.
Thank you. And Colonel Pretorius, would you like to, any parting words to communities, anyone who's watching, families that are watching, to conscientize them on the dangers of alcohol abuse? I'm sure in your line of work you see a lot of sometimes, horrid things that are a result of alcohol abuse.
Thank you. I just want to come back to our communities in the sense that within the police we have a responsibility to our communities as they have a responsibility to themselves as well. However, when it comes to illegal liquor outlets, the police have a concerted effort in closing down those outlets, and that is sometimes seen as negative. But it is also our community that's complaining if we have those outlets that are, with the outlets it's illegal, they don't adhere to conditions, so they don't have conditions. So they must be aware of the fact that the police have a responsibility to close down those outlets, as well as the taverns and liquor stores. Those, when they contravene their conditions and our communities complain, we have a response to police that. And that is also seen sometimes as negative because it's seen as a form of harassment. Right. Yet it's our own communities that complain, and that's why it's a principle. We will assist them at all times. Because if you look at our statistics around violence, crime, contact crimes, driving under the influence, it all has an impact on our communities, on our children, on our youth. And going forth, we need to look at our families. How do we address this as a family and as departments collectively?
And with those parting words, we have to wrap it up here. I just want to quickly thank my panel today, Mr. Derek Skosana, member of Mayoral Committee for Community Services. We also had Mr. Joseph Mawuza from Mpumalanga Community Safety, and Colonel Maureen Pretorius from the South African Police Service joining me on the panel. Of course, the community members for joining in the program as well. You're at home for watching. We thank you for engaging us, and of course, from myself, Audrey Shimanda, coming to you from Mpumalanga. This is People's Imbizo. Thank you for watching the program, and goodbye.